Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk. And earlier today, a friend of mine called by the house. He was actually on the way to the tip, and he said he got a box full of old broken computer bits. Did I want them before he dropped them off at the tip? And as I am for junk, I said go on then, let me have what you've got. And he presented me with this box here. He said none of it works. He said but if you can make use of any of the bits, then it's better than him taking it to the tip. So let's have a look what we've got in the box. Now none of this is vintage stuff or anything. Basically what we've got, and get the box open, is we've got some old ATX power supplies. I've got that one there, and we've got that one here, and we've got a few of, I think they're probably Pentium 4. We've got some of these, I think there's 3 of them, yeah. Got 3 of these Intel coolers, which I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do with. I don't know if there's anything, if they work or not, but so yeah, I've got 3 of them. A cardboard box which will come in handy. But what I thought we would have a look at in this video is these. Let me just get this box out of the way. Try to leave. What I thought we'd have a look at in the video is these 2 PSUs. Just perhaps squeeze down a little bit like that. Basically what we've got here is we've got 2 ends of the spectrum. This one on the bottom would set you back probably 15-20 quid. This one about 120 quid. They're not that far off spec wise. The bottom one's a 500 watt supply, the top one's a 600 watt supply. That's pretty much where, well, 560 watt supply the top one, and the bottom one's a 500 watt supply. Apart from that, they're pretty much completely different beasts, these. I mean, weight wise, that's a substantial amount of weight in that PSU. This one, literally, I couldn't throw up and catch that one like that. I'd drop it and smash my desk. That is a seriously heavy duty piece of equipment. If we look at the cabling on them, it's like chalk and cheese. We've got all this with its nice braiding on it. Every conceivable connection you could ever really want. We've got SATA, we've got the standard Molex disk drive, we've got the extra, I think, yeah, oh yeah, we've got literally everything you could ever really want on that PSU. This one, a lot fewer, the wire's thinner, no braiding or anything on it. But what I thought we'd do is we'd crack these open and have a look inside them. Now, I'm in 2 minds what to do with this one, because it is rather an expensive PSU. I think we'll open it up and I'll have a quick look inside it, but I don't think I'm going to tear this one apart. It's a good, if I can get it working, it's a good, decent quality power supply, and I'll find a computer I can use it in. He actually gave me a, it's a gaming PC case, quite a high-end one, which has got a fairly cheap power supply in it. I'm considering if I do rebuild one of my i7 computer, which I use every now and again. It doesn't get a whole lot of use, but I was perhaps thinking about building that into that case, because it'd give me some more expansion bays and things like that, and possibly if I could get that working, that'd be a good power supply to go in there. It's what is it? It's a Thermaltake Azure 3 silent pure power. So I presume, like I say, I had a look online on these, and they're coming out at over £100, so it's obviously quite a decent bit of kit, that. So this, on the other hand, is junk. It really is utter junk. And what I think we'll do with this one is tear it apart and see what parts we can salvage. As it just so happens, it's got all the bits on it that I need for the backplane of the ZX81 project computer here. So I can salvage the IEC input there, I can salvage the power switch. Obviously there's cable on it, there's probably some useful connectors and bits and bats in there. So we'll tear that down and see what we can salvage from it. But before we do that, I think what we'll do is we'll have a quick look in the in this one, and we'll see if it's as good inside as it looks outside. I mean, just the thickness of the metal that the cases are made out of, this just feels like quality. So I think it is, it's due a reprieve, and it's due me at least having a look to see whether it is viable, to see if we can possibly get this working. I said, probably not in this video. I might even do a video on seeing if I can repair it, but I think it's probably a bit too good just to literally tear apart for the fans and the connectors on it. So we'll get inside it, like I said, and we'll have a we will have a look. I believe this one was actually in one of my friend's computers. He's one of these people that he's actually a university professor. He's a professor of neuroscience or something like that. Something that everything, when he starts talking about his work, it goes clearly over my head. But he also likes tinkering with computers, and basically I think he keeps most of the family's PCs running. So he's always giving me bits of junk which he's acquired from that. Let's have a look. It just looks well built in here, really. We can see in there it's very, very well packed. Some seriously substantial heat sinks. If we look at these heat sinks on here, I don't know if you can. Are you making that out all right? But we've got some aluminium heat sinks here, but they're actually fixed onto some copper planes, and that does look like it. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, they are solid copper. So you've got some solid copper planes there with the aluminium heat sinks riveted onto it for extra heat distribution. Yeah, this thing's is very well made, I can say it that way. Let's just have a quick. We do have a mains input fuse here. We'll see if that's good. Obviously, it's no indication whether that's the actual fault or not. But while we're in here now, I'm just going to have to move the tripod a sec while I get my tester out. There we go. This tester will have to do. Right, let's just get you back in position. There we are. Okay. So we've got a fuse down here. We'll just give that a quick test while we're here. So I'm not going to go into probably the repair of this in this video, because it's more of a teardown. But I thought we'd just have a look at the chalk and cheese of the PSUs. PSU for computers. Like I said, that's cheapo. This is most definitely not. I mean, if you just look at the filtering on the back of the IEC there, a great big X2 cap. We've got a choke there. We've got some MOVs, and that's before you even get down onto the main board. So let's see if we can get this cover off, and let's see if we can do a quick continuity check on this fuse. I hate these covers that they started putting on fuses now. It's like this jelly stuff. I mean, if you're inside the bloody case, why do you need something like that on it? If you're inside the case, you're obviously going to be aware of the electrical danger. Right, let's see if this fuse is any good. Yeah, so the mains fuse is okay. So it's obviously something a little bit more in-depth in there. Some lovely great big chokes in there. They're thick, heavy copper. Big smoothing can at the back there, another big heavy choke. There's the main transformer. Another big choke down there. I can't see anything black and charred as yet. But like I say, I'll put this one to one side, and we will possibly have a look at that in a later video. have we got a bit of charring? Oh no, it's just on long leads. That feels a little bit loose. Yeah, like I say, we'll look into this one possibly at a later date, but that's what a really heavy duty, substantial power supply looks like inside. Right, put that one back together for now. So we'll have a look at something if possibly I can get that one working. Put the screws back in it or else I'll lose them. Always the way, never go back on easy, do they? Trap the insulation as I put the lid back down. Let's take that back off again. That goes in like that. That's more like it. There we go. Screw that back in. Right. There we go. We'll get that one out of the way. That's for future investigation. And let's look at this this cheapy hunk of junk. Now I think he said that he took this one out of a relative's computer who brought it around because it had just stopped working. Apparently it went off with a pop. So, and he just put a new power, he didn't bother obviously looking at it, he just put a new power supply in it, and apparently that got the computer working again. So not worth repairing power supplies of this quality. You just replace them. But that doesn't say there aren't plenty of useful bits in here we can salvage. Let's get. I mean, it's even got a big bash on there. The case is that thin on these cheapy power supplies. It's even caved in like that. And that's just from being thrown in a couple of boxes. And here we are. Right, we're in. Right on the floor, and as we can see, it's completely different in here. There's virtually nothing to it at all. What I am quite surprised is actually there seems to be a bit of filtering on the mains there, which is quite nice. We won't be needing that, I don't think. In fact, I think we'll have to desolder that to get the IEC out of the actual board. Sorry, yeah, the IEC out of the actual case. But let's get in there and see what we've got. We'll actually tear this one down, I think. First thing we'll do is we'll chop these wires off, and these come in handy for all sorts. You've got all different colours. It's a nice thickness. It's actually good that it's a bit thinner, this stuff. It's just really useful for hookup wire for repairing stuff. So we'll get these off. There we go, that one. We've got a nice, I mean obviously we've got the Molex connectors there that we'll probably all use for projects, and a little mini for the disk drive. They're always handy. We've got the SATA power connectors as well. We've got an ATX connector there, but more importantly we've got all this nice cable which will come in for all sorts of projects. So that can go in my scrap cable box. Again, nice little grommet there, they come in handy. That can go in my scrap box. And then we're really into what we've got in here. I think what we will do I've got my soldering iron heated up, so we'll get some of this desoldered. Let's see the best way to get this board out. Oops, trying not to catch the tripod with my soldering iron cable. So I have to turn that up a bit. Let's see if we can get this off. I wonder if we can get it out. Let's try and get it out in one piece. If we can get it out in one piece, it's always better, isn't it? So let's disconnect it. I'll cut it off from the board. That's disconnected from the board there. I'll take that earth connection off there. And all the screws from this will go in my little screw pot there, because this case won't be bought. Some of these cases can be handy for making little projects in, but obviously this one's a bit dented up, so I won't bother keeping it for that, because it's a bit bashed up. Otherwise, if the case was in good condition, I do keep some of them, because if I'm making little valve projects, they can actually make quite a handy little chassis to build your projects in. But anyway, let's have a look here now. They're disconnected now, so that's off. I think if we desolder the switch, so this switch should go nicely for the for my projects, for my ZD project, and this IEC. Oops, that was my finger. We could do with no, there we go. There we go, that's free. Right. Now I can just unscrew this. Ah, there we go. We can sneak that out, I think. Can we? Be nice if we could get it out in one piece. Possibly could if we whip that capacitor off the back of it. Let's try that. We can always stick that back at a later date, but that might have just given us enough room to sneak this out. If not, I'll have to take everything else off this board, which would be a shame. Let's have a look now. No, it ain't going to come out through there. We will have to see if we can desolder this, unfortunately. See if this is going to free off. This is going to be a little bit tricky to get out, but we're more concerned about saving the connector than the board. There we go. Oops. There we go, that's free. Get rid of that earth there, disconnect that. There we are. And that's the bit that we want for the I mean, I probably do have some of these kicking around somewhere, but I'd have to go and find them. Oops. And as we've got one perfectly good here, we might as well use it. Just clean them, clean the excess solder off them connectors. I just have to straighten out that inner vent slightly. Let's give that a quick straighten. There we go. And there we are. That's ready for use on the little ZD project. So there's my IEC input. Let's get this board out. I suppose I could, if I wanted, reuse that. It's a little bit of filtering. Actually, just put that capacitor back on now. There we go. That'll do. At least it holds it in place. I may think about using that. I could still reattach it and reuse it. We'll see about that. It goes on that way like that. Neutral on that side, live on that side. So I might be able to reuse that, but I don't know whether it's worth bothering to or not. We've got the IEC that we want. Let's get the switch out of here and we'll see if the switch has much use. I think the switch will be absolutely fine. Just push down the little tabs and the switch should pop out. So damn careful. I've just cut myself just doing that. It's so sharp, this metal. Get in there, just windle it out. Once you get the tabs past a certain place, they are fairly easy to get out. Let's try it. Don't just go straight at them and leave them, or else you'll break the tabs off and then you can't reuse them. So you do have to have a little bit of care just to ease the tabs in, and then eventually it'll come up and out. And there's our on-off switch, so that can go in the pile. There's nothing really else on here that I think is worth salvaging for the project. That fan's quite nice, but it's a little on the large side. In fact, it's a very, very clean fan as well. I don't think this thing had very much use before it actually failed. I can't even see anything that looks particularly blown up on it either. All I see is, like I say, it went off with a bang, which probably means it's not worth repairing. See if the fuse is alright. Yeah, the fuse is okay. I always salvage that. I'll just get the board out of this. You can go in the pot. Now, there really isn't anything that I would consider particularly salvageable on the board itself. It will just be thrown in my scrap board box, and then if I'm desperate for a part, I can always well, that's interesting. Notice a little cut mark there, and if you look, that resistor there has been cut, and there's other little cut marks. There's a resistor missing there, and there's, I wonder if that's some way you oh, so there's a part there that looks like it's been cut off the board. I mean, I've just broken the warranty seal on this, so no one's been in it before, but there was a part mounted there and it's been cut off the board. Like I said, there's that resistor there, if you look, is just hanging free. Yeah, it has actually been cut, because there's still part of the leg there actually in the hole. It's not just a bad solder job and it's come out. It's actually been cut off, and like there's a little symbol for cut there. Never seen that before on a power supply, and it is really, really cheap, this thing. I mean, I think it's about as cheap and nasty as a switch mode power supply can get, really. There ain't a lot of filtering on it. The caps are, let's see what we've got. JCM, YHC. Yeah, I mean some. What are the large ones there? JCM. Yeah, so we're talking some really high quality, top brand, you know, Rubicon caps in this thing. It is cheap tap, really. I think, judging by the distinct lack of dust on that actual fan. Let me just get that out of the case. You know, you look at the fan, it's like hardly any dust on it at all. I don't think this thing ran for very long before giving up the ghost. High quality DC fan with loads and loads and loads of play in it. But I mean, you know, it might do for a little project if I need a little fan for something. So that'll go in this bit in my fan box. Apart from that, I mean, I'll probably keep these coils because they're handy for other things. If that's an X-type capacitor, I might keep that. A couple of possibly the power resistors on there, but that's really it. There's not really a great deal worth salvages on that. I'll just throw it in my scrap boards box, and like I said, if I'm desperate for a part, it's something to pick over. Perhaps see what the semiconductors are on it, pull them off and give them a test. But apart from that, like I said, there's really not a great deal worth having on that. It's more use for these parts like this, you know. It was worth stripping down for these parts. So there's not a huge amount worth salvaging out of one of them power supplies, but it's still worth stripping out what you can before just chucking it in the bin. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I say, it wasn't going to be a longer, fancy video or anything, but we've got the bits we need for the power input on the ZD project, and they've not cost me anything, like I said, and I've saved some parts from going to landfill, or going for chipping up to recover a few precious metals, which is what this country seems to think that all recycling is. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for now. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching and goodbye.